Goodyear stock plummets after President Trump calls for a national boycott against this newly woke corporation. In this video, we're going to take a look at the absurdly leftist dress policy of Goodyear, what it means for an emerging political economy, and how President Trump's boycott call has already caused Goodyear to learn the hard way a fundamental law of the universe. Say it with me. Get woke. Go broke. You're not going to want to miss this. Greetings, everyone, patriots all across the globe. Dr. Steve here with you. Great to be with you as always. A huge welcome to all of our first-time viewers. We post 2 videos a day, analyzing current events and analyze some super awesome conservative trends so we can all live in the present in light of even better things to come. So if you haven't already done so, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. It would be an absolute privilege to have you as a regular visitor to this channel, where each and every day we together celebrate, yes, the inevitable collapse of left-wing globalism and the unstoppable rise of a new conservative age. So let's start with our video chat question of the day, shall we? Do you plan on boycotting Goodyear tires? Let us know in the comments section below. This should make for some interesting reading, I'm sure. Do you plan on boycotting Goodyear tires? Let us know what you think, because we're already seeing, we are actually going to find that Goodyear began to suffer literally within seconds of Trump's call for a national boycott, learning again another fundamental law of the universe: you can't stump the Trump. But before we dive in here, let's give a huge shout out to the sponsor of this video, and that's the makers of the awesome motion detector ultra bright solar nightlight. Now you can install it anywhere because it's wireless, and you never need to worry about buying batteries because it's solar powered with a high powered battery storage pack. It's equipped with motion detectors. It becomes an entertainment light for the patio and the barbecue with a simple click of a button. And those motion detectors offer effective deterrents against burglars. And best of all, you don't have to spend a fortune for any of it. If you click on that link below right now, you'll save 52% off, as well as free shipping. So what could be better? Do not wait. Click on that link below or visit nightsolarlight.com and bring its light to the dark spaces in your home today. All right, gang, let's dive right in here. There are 2 lessons coming out of the latest disaster, the catastrophe that has beset yet another woke corporation. We all know the first lesson: get woke, go broke. Fundamental law of the universe. Get woke, go broke, right? That's, of course, the first lesson. The second lesson seems to be just as constant. It's another fundamental law of the universe, and that is you cannot stump the Trump. Stop trying to stump the Trump. You can't do it. Trump knew exactly what he was doing yesterday when he took to Twitter to call for a national boycott against the latest soy boy corporation, Goodyear tires, and he crushed them. He absolutely crushed them. Just ask their investors. Now, if you don't know what happened, an employee at Goodyear Tires snapped a screenshot of the corporation's dress code policy. And as you can clearly see from the screenshot, according to the higher-ups at Goodyear, there is accepted attire and there is unacceptable attire. And under the acceptable attire, you can wear Black Lives Matter logos and slogans. You can wear anything associated with lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender pride. But when it comes to unacceptable dress, the list includes Blue Lives Matter slogans, All Lives Matter. Think about that. All Lives Matter has been banned from Goodyear. Just let that hit you. All Lives Matter, and the piece de resistance, anything MAGA related. And it's not just simply unacceptable. MAGA slogans aren't just unacceptable. All Lives Matter and Blue Lives Matter, they're not just unacceptable. This is a zero tolerance unacceptability. Goodyear has implemented a zero tolerance, no exceptions whatsoever policy on anything related to MAGA attire or All Lives Matter, Blue Lives Matter. How dare you even think that such racist, bigoted attire could be allowed in our sacred halls of wokeness? Don't even consider it. Don't. No, you can't wear horrifically offensive attire, like, blah, blah, blah. So, welcome to the woke oasis of Goodyear tires. Who would ever have thought tire company would be a warrior of wokeness? I have no idea. So, Trump finds out about this, and let's just say he did not take it sitting down, as he never does. Again, this is what makes Trump so amazing. He's willing to actually fight on behalf of all of us. So, he took to Twitter. Don't buy Goodyear tires. They announced a ban on MAGA hats. Get better tires for far less. And then Trump wrote on this. This is what the radical left Democrats do. Two can play the same game, and we have to start playing it now. Now, again, just to underscore how corrupt our mainstream Marxist media is, check this out. Here's a headline from Politico, right? Trump calls for Goodyear boycott after company bans MAGA attire among employees. But then you have another site called PolitiFact, which is in the business of doing just that, politicizing facts, weaponizing facts to push a partisan agenda. And look at this. They had the goal to accuse Trump's claim that Goodyear has announced a ban on MAGA hats as mostly false. And then they have a gaslighting article entitled, "Calling Goodyear dress code a ban on MAGA hats mischaracterizes company policy." I mean, what do you say to this? I mean, I'm actually serious. I mean, look at the summary of the argument. Again, I'm quoting from this blatantly gaslighting article. Listen to this. In a public statement, Goodyear said that it asks its employees, zero tolerance unacceptability is now a request. It's zero tolerance is now a suggestion. Goodyear said that it asks its employees to refrain from political campaigning for any political party, but allows advocacy for racial justice and equity issues. The very fact that such an absurd rationalization is presented as plausible betrays the very left-wing sensibilities these weaponizing fact-checkers are trying to push on the rest of us. I mean, we now live in a world where leftists think that they can convincingly argue that there is a fundamental distinction, a radical difference between a ban and a zero tolerance unacceptability. If your Marxist leftism is going to cause you to try to find a distinction without a difference, right? A distinction between banning and zero tolerance policy. I mean, all reason is lost. There's no point of even discussing at this point. Well, I can tell you what Goodyear also lost, and that's their stock value. Within seconds of Trump's tweet calling for a national boycott, Goodyear's stocks plunged. He tweeted out his boycott at 10:33 a.m. yesterday. Markets insiders reporting that within 1 minute, 60 seconds, Goodyear stock fell to an intraday low of just over $9 a share, representing a drop of 6%. And this is not what Goodyear wanted. Their shares are actually down 40% year to date. So this was just pouring salt on the wound. Now, again, the left-wing activists disguised as journalists in our mainstream Marxist media did their best to gaslight for Goodyear. They did their best to try to explain away the obvious at a press briefing with Trump's press secretary, Kayleigh McEnany. The ultra-left CBS News reporter Paula Reed actually did her best to defend Goodyear's no-tolerance ban on Blue Lives Matter and MAGA attire while allowing for BLM and LGBT attire. Her rationalization was that Goodyear is simply banning political speech, which again, I thought, according to PolitiFact, it wasn't a ban. But we'll let the cult of incoherence just flesh itself out here. It was just a ban on political speech, that's all, which is common for most companies. So why is the president retaliating against a private corporation like this when Goodyear is just saying that equality and justice is allowed, but political speech isn't? What's wrong with that? And Kayleigh, she shot back. It was brilliant. As far as I'm concerned, Blue Lives Matter is an equity issue. There have been police officers across this country that have been targeted because they wear the badge. Look no further than Dallas, where 5 police officers died. So Black Lives Matter, an organization who in their DC branch said Black Lives Matter means defund the police. One of their presidents in New York said, "We will burn down the system." We all remember in 2015 the yelling of "pigs in a blanket, fry 'em like bacon" at a Black Lives Matter rally. That speech is allowed, but Blue Lives Matter is not allowed. I will stand at this podium and say Blue Lives Matter is an equity issue and Goodyear needs to come out and acknowledge it. Boom! Bravo! Hear, hear. That was amazing. Mic drop. And that's not to mention that BLM is admittedly Marxist. Its leadership is Marxist and it funnels money to the Democrat Party. I mean, again, that you would actually have members of the media act, that they would actually try to pull off this kabuki theater, that Blue Lives Matter is political, but Black Lives Matter isn't? I mean, it's beyond cringeworthy. It really is. I mean, I can stomach a lot of things. I deal with political and, politics and political culture every day, but this takes the cake. If this CBS reporter's question doesn't prove how immersed in Marxist sentiments these so-called journalists are, and you know what? If you think it through, it wasn't even a question. I think it wasn't a question. It's just a form of heckling. These are hecklers disguised as reporters. They're just clothing their hatred and their disdain for our president in the form of a question. But it's not an attempt to try to get, clarification or to get a better sense of understanding or reality for themselves and for their audience. It's just an attempt to mock and ridicule, because nobody actually pays any attention to the mainstream Marxist media anymore than Marxists. So their ratings are lower than they've ever been, and they're currently experiencing the single lowest level of trust they have ever experienced. Now, what's going on with Goodyear is, of course, the polar opposite of what happened with Goya Foods, right? Just a few weeks ago, if you remember, after Goya's CEO praised President Trump, there was a massive call among leftists to boycott Goya food products. And President Trump came to the rescue. He gave his full support for Goya, and he called on Americans to go out and buy Goya products. And they most certainly did. Goya food sales skyrocketed. The outpouring of support was almost immediate. Goya gained over 100,000 Facebook followers within 24 hours after the boycott was launched. Mark Levin called on his millions of listeners to go out and buy Goya products in support of the CEO. James Woods as well called on his over 2 million Twitter followers to do the same. And as we talked about at the time, from a big picture perspective, what's actually going on here with all this really is nothing less than a reconfiguration of our economy into what's being called a political economy that's being fueled by what's called consumer politics. And that's where more and more people are intentionally buying from companies that promote and support our political commitments, while intentionally refusing to purchase from those companies that actively oppose and offend our politics. And so consumer politics generally involves what are called boycotts and boycotts, right? So boycotts are obviously the boycotts, right, is the intentional refusal to buy from companies that offend our political values, like what Trump is calling for with Goodyear. But boycotts involve intentional purchases from companies that support our political values, what Trump called for with Goya products. And this is contributing to the increasing partisan nature of the marketplace. Companies are more and more being divided up between liberal corporations and conservative corporations. And in the age of a rising nationalist populism headed by one Donald Trump, Goodyear is learning the hard way two fundamental laws of the universe. You can't stump the Trump, and of course, get woke, go broke. Now, before you go, make sure to like this video, comment down below, and subscribe to my channel. And you will definitely want to check out my latest video I just uploaded on newly released photos revealing Bill Clinton with one of Jeffrey Epstein's victims, as even leftists are now abandoning Bill Clinton. You're not going to want to miss this. So make sure to click on the link, and I will see you over there. God bless.